Unsealed court documents reveal a massive sex abuse cover-up inside the Mormon Church. Ring of Fire's Farron Cousins joins me to talk about that and many other issues. 6 years of sex abuse for a 5-year-old. The Mormon Church was told this is going on. And what do they do with that material?
Nothing. They did absolutely nothing with it. And this is just one of many instances now that we're finding out, but this particular story is so disturbing because not only was the father molesting his 5-year-old daughter, eventually his wife got pregnant again, and then when the baby turned 6 weeks old, he began sexually assaulting that baby as well.
Yeah, all this story is, it's just a way in to talk to you and everybody about how dysfunctional. Now, I call them a cult. People can get mad at me. It's a cult. I mean, if you really look behind this, the fact that these folks even got a tax write-off to be a church is as ridiculous as the Scientologist getting a write-off like that. But it's the Church of Latter-day Saints. You had a man who was being treated as a pornography addict, goes to the bishop, says, "Mr. Bishop, I have been molesting my 5-year-old child," spills the beans. The bishop then goes to the lawyers, the national lawyers, not the local lawyers, but the lawyers who are calling all the shots. And the lawyer says, "Whatever you do, don't tell the police. Whatever you do, don't report this to child welfare where they can go in there and save that baby." That is the most disgusting. And you know what? When this case develops, they need to sue that lawyer right along with the church. And he's part of it. And from the other side, the church needs to sue that lawyer for malpractice because this is blowing up like crazy right now.
It is, and what the church did was they had set up a tip line for their clergy members or even their regular members to report sexual abuse. So, I mean, they knew the problem was bad enough that what they did was they set up this tip line. They said, hey, if you hear anything, you call the tip line. You don't call the police, like you said. You don't call authorities or DCF. Call this tip line for us here. We'll handle it. Don't worry about it.
You know, you and I have done this story before about what the tip line is all about. The tip line is keeping it quiet. It's like what you see universities doing right now.
Yeah.
Colleges, universities all over this country, when a woman is raped, they take them first to a committee. And that person then has to sign off to where I'm going to live with what the committee decides. It's worse than arbitration because here you have the university that's running the program. That's the same thing that's happening here. And and first of all, there is no clergy. There's no clergy privilege in Arizona. There's about 20 states in the union that same thing. There's no clergy privilege. So first of all, the lawyer committed malpractice. They need to be sued. And they certainly need to be brought into this lawsuit as a necessary party.
Right, and another thing about the tip line that was really shocking in this massive report that's come out was that they revealed that at the end of every single workday, the tip line workers were instructed, take all the records you took from that day, destroy them. Mm-hmm. You do not keep anything. So basically at the end of the day, every day, it's a clean slate. There's no record of who you talked to. There's no record of what was reported to you. There is nothing. And unfortunately, this leads the people who call the tip line to think, okay, I did what I'm supposed to do. They're going to handle it. This guy's going to go to jail for a long time. I'm good to go.
If this was just one story, we'd be reporting it. But this is bigger than one story.
Yeah.
They turned off 12,000 pages in a West Virginia lawsuit that is OMG kind of material because it shows you that the infrastructure of the Mormon Church not only covered it up, but what they would do is they'd make it disappear. Like you're talking, they destroy documents. And the tip line is simply the way, it's a hook. Get this person into the church handling the problem, and we're going to make it go away. This story has just started. Matter of fact, we handle these kinds of abuse cases. We're getting calls from all over the country, primarily Mormons, that are saying, hey, this happened to me too. This is the beginning. And I promise you, I'll bring in any law firm that's given that church the advice not to report this. I'll bring them in as a necessary party, part of a RICO if I have to. The Church of Scientology is desperate to prevent the public from learning about their dirtiest secrets, and there are a lot of them. Every time I look at a Scientology story, my first reaction is, A, what in the world are we doing giving them a tax break for a cult? It is a cult of crazy people. That's what we have here. So what's their latest thing now?
You've got Danny Masterson, who most people recognize from that 70s show. A couple years ago was arrested. Multiple women accused him of rape. So he is awaiting charges. But the Church of Scientology says, well, hold up now. Because the women who have accused him were also in Scientology. They're no longer in Scientology. And we have a very strict policy that says if you accuse anybody of anything, you have to go to our arbitrators. So you cannot sue him in court. You cannot file these criminal charges. You have to go to basically the judge of Scientology.
Arbitration. Yeah. We want you to come before our judge because that's what you signed up for. And let me tell you something. If the Supreme Court allows this, it busts open the idea of arbitration. Arbitration has already taken away people's rights. But if SCOTUS says, yeah, you sign that, we're going to allow the Scientology judges to determine what happens here.
That is absolutely terrifying because, as you pointed out, we already have other countries. Actually, Russia led the way on this, saying we're not going to recognize you as an actual religion anymore because you're not legitimate. There's nothing religious about you. This is, as Russia defined it, this is a cult.
It's absolutely a cult. Well, I mean, let's call it what it is. You had L. Ron Hubbard, which the guy was pursued all over the world for fraud, wire fraud, every kind of fraud you can imagine. L. Ron Hubbard had to live his life on a ship. His ship was his headquarters where he sailed all around the world because he was a fraud. And what I think is most interesting is the headquarters, the biggest headquarters is Hemet, California. If you look at why did you go to California? Well, because we thought we could get a lot of people in our cult in California. That seems to be true. As I look at this story, did you see the thing with the E-meter?
I'm familiar with those.
The E-meter is this electric testing that they bring in people like Lee Remini, who has the TV show.
Yeah.
She left the cult. She's the one that's exposing the cult for all the crazies that are out there. But the E-meter is a way that they would put you with an E-meter and you would have an auditor, and the auditor tests your skin, and the auditor then makes up ideas of what you're thinking about. You're thinking about leaving Scientology. You're thinking about this. And these people are so damn impressionable when they're tested that they walk out of there thinking, oh my God, I have all of these problems. And then if the E-meter doesn't go well, then they put them in the hole. The hole is a place where it's a place of punishment where they keep them there until they come around and be a good Scientologist.
Well, people love to compare the U.S. government to Big Brother from 1984, but what you're describing here is literally from 1984, putting people in these little torture chambers until they believe the things that they are supposed to believe. And it goes far beyond just this Danny Masterson rape case with the Church of Scientology. There's some great law firms out there that are representing victims who claim that they were recruited as children, trafficked basically, and forced to work slave labor on some of these, the boats that you're talking about, getting into engine tanks without any protective gear and scrubbing it at 6 years old.
Yeah, Farron, I had to learn a lot about them because we clients would call us, one in particular, one client called, she had St. Clearwater, Florida, they have a big Scientology organization, and she was held captive, could not leave the building. Her family couldn't get her out of there. Her lawyers couldn't get her out of there. Held captive. And, the truth is, part of being held captive is they take all the person's assets too. They tell the person, you may not communicate with anybody who is not part of our Scientology organization. That happened to this woman. All of her assets were stolen from her. She was put in this confinement in place right there in St. Petersburg. And what they would do is they actually have monitors that follow these people around even on the grounds. They have locked doors, places they can't go. They have internet filtering. They have telephone filtering. And so the point is, who in the hell says, yeah, this is a good idea? Apparently California, it is the home and this epicenter for the Scientologists. I'm looking for the case. I'm simply looking for the case to bust these people up in a big way. And we may be onto one right now.